What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the show, the podcast, episode 57. I can't believe we made it to 57. Not that that's an anniversary number, but I didn't think anybody had listened past one. But here we are. It's episode 57 of the show, the podcast. If you're on YouTube, and if you can read, because there's a title to this episode, you see that Mike Dro is here. Mike, thank you so much. I appreciate everything you do for the community. I'm glad you could spend some time today.
It's cool to be invited here. Thank you.
Among the list of legends who've been on the show, the podcast. But we're going to just start with a couple quick announcements, like I always do. Stream schedule this week. September is almost over. It ends at the end of September. So we have streams Wednesday night and Thursday night. They're going to start between 5:30 and 6 p.m. Eastern, somewhere in that time frame. Depends on when I get home from work. We're also going to stream Sunday at 9 a.m. to get your hungover fix of MLB The Show. That's not September, though. So if you're looking to sub, Wednesday and Thursday at the time. I never asked for it, but if you're going to do it, it's 50% cheaper. So thank you for even considering it. I wanted to shout out friend of the show, Ashley Sanders, one of the GOATs. Over the weekend, she hit me with the fattest raid we've ever had. Like 85 people came to hang out, and we had a bunch of new followers, some subs. So Ashley, if you're listening, and I know you are, thank you so much again. I appreciate it. Also, quick life update. I went 12-0 for the first time. Can you believe it, chat? I did it. Finally did it. I felt more accomplished than I've ever felt in my entire life. Dreams, this is what dreams are made of. I heard Lizzie McGuire in my head the whole time. Finally did it. Very, very proud of myself. Thank you. I can hear you guys clapping and cheering from afar. But Mike's here, so we're gonna stop ignoring him now. Just wanted to give you guys some life updates. If you don't know Mike, you're clearly not on Twitter. But if you don't know Mike, big Yankee fan, big Twitter guy, Facebook group moderator ×2, I learned. Giver of tips, maker of TikToks, maker of pizzas. So Mike, just if people don't know you, again, it's crazy to me if they don't, but tell them just a little bit about yourself, and we'll hop into this thing.
Let's see. Well, once again, thank you for having me here. I'm that kid, like when they ask you, like, say something about yourself in school, I'm like, no one look at me, so I don't like doing that.
Yeah,
although
one
my
fun
tweets
fact about
kind
yourself.
of like drag attention towards me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I try to talk about preaching pizza and positivity. Even if I'm like talking about something serious, there's an intent behind it meant to bring out something good in it. So I don't know. I just like making a difference. I like creating content because that brings me with people. Ultimately, whether you agree with me on something or not, whether I'm passionately against what you're saying or not, the whole point of having like a discussion to bring people together and figure out something deep inside of that or at the end of it that we can get along with. I just like creating content. I like creating pizza because also where I work, I manage a restaurant that is community driven. It's in a small town. We do the donations for the football games, for the t-ball games, whatever, stuff like that. Like if the fire department's fighting a fire past closing, we stay up for a couple of pies, something like that. I just like the community that this is created, that I've been accepted into, basically. I guess. And
fittingly for this episode, I just finished eating vodka chicken parm. So I got my Italian fix going on, homemade, of course, because it's better that way. Little chef's kiss. Had some broccoli on the side because my girlfriend likes vegetables. So, we're doing it up. I feel like I'm in the Ginzaloon type of mood tonight, if people know what that means, if they're Italian. I'm half Italian, so I can say that.
There you go.
So the Facebook group, we talked about it a little before recording. It's such an interesting place. Now I've learned there's multiple. I'm in one of them, MLB The Show 21 community group or something to that effect. There's like 20-something thousand members in there. It's constantly at the top of my Facebook feed. Sometimes, most of the time, arguments, which I'm sure are not fun to moderate. But, if you really look through it, and you go into it as a level-headed human being, which is asking a lot, apparently, you can really learn a lot. You really get good tips. You get people's opinions on which cards they're liking versus other ones, what people are struggling with, how you can help them. You kind of told me before we were recording, but just the genesis of the Facebook group, like you realized it would be a place for help, and it's grown. So how did that all come about?
Yeah, so as we talked before recording, I have been playing the show for a couple of years. I've been playing baseball games my whole life, MVP 05. I used to play the modded games on that too, where it had a little bit of a community, which kind of, I do have a funny connection about the MVP community that leads into the show community that some people don't know about. But around 17, I was a Road to the Show guy. I played a little bit of Diamond Dynasty for a couple of years, but I wasn't good. I didn't even know what directional or zone hitting was. I didn't know what pure analog pitching was. I just pressed buttons and like watched things happen. I would spend money on packs here and there and like buy a bunch of live series cards thinking I was some hot shot at the game, feeding all the cards into my 99 overall cap, and then stumble across a couple of Facebook groups. I think I found the most toxic group of all time that is somehow still functioning, and left that group. And then I came across the show community group that we're talking about, where one of the admins of that group kind of like took me in and like helped me with some tips, as well as a bunch of other members, which got me into being, I'm not good at the game, but I'm much better. I can make World Series now comfortably. I know how to work the marketplace, take batting practice, got my batting average up. I hit 300 one year. So overall, that community has just been very helpful in making me a better player and making so many friends in the process that I went to TwitchCon with, that I got to meet at TwitchCon or have meetups with beforehand, etc. It is a very good resource, but within the last year or so, exploding with cross-platform or just more people gaming in general with the pandemic. There's a lot more toxicity with people letting out frustrations, and it channels through baseball debates or Diamond Dynasty debates, or someone wants to bring an IRL baseball situation being affected by politics into the group, stuff like that. But ultimately, it is a fantastic resource. It's, like I said, made countless friends through that. It's been just as helpful in content creation as well, because there's thousands of people. We let creators post whatever they want in the group as long as they contribute to the group in some way. It's not just like, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live, hey, I'm live.
Yeah, I have on occasion posted episodes in there. Like, hey guys, you like Spore? Spore was on the show. You want to listen? Check it out. You know, I don't try to spam my stuff in there because, like you said, people don't want to see people spamming. I mean, I'm not the most active member of the group anyway, so it would look like I'm only in there to spam my content, and I'm not. But one of the things I've seen in that group is that a lot of the memes that go in there, like where can I improve my team? Meanwhile, it's like the best players across the board. People don't understand all the time that is a meme and a joke. So people then get feisty, be like, what are you talking about? You got the best team. And then they fight back and forth. And it's like 100 comments later. And I'm like, I wasted my time reading this. So yeah, I think people, again, just like cooler heads prevail. Just like if you're not happy with something, don't say something about it. Like, it's that simple. I don't understand why people
the
don't.
group is like the world. It is what you make it of it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So if you don't like it, leave or do something to be a part of it.
Exactly. But overall, I mean, such a good resource. Like, I could, if you're a brand new player, if you were an Xbox player this year who's never touched MLB The Show before, and you join that group, I guarantee you've learned something from that group. Has it made you better necessarily? I mean, that's entirely on you at the end of the day, but like tips and advice wise, that's kind of the place to be, because you have 20-something thousand people, at least 50% of whom, probably a lot more, have definitely experienced the game for a while. You know, so like they know what they're talking about. Hopefully, I shouldn't say that across the board, but hopefully they know what they're talking about. And you get like a vast, using the word diversity in its like dictionary definition of like, there's people of every type from all corners, who all ages, maybe not all ages, but you know, a decent sized demographic. Like, you're learning things from a lot of different people. That's important. But the Facebook groups in general, have you found, as being a moderator, you know, we're going to talk about this later too. You balance work and play. When I say play, I mean your content creation, because you're playing the game, but like you balance all of that to the best of anybody's ability. Like, we all have to find our own balances, but then you're also adding moderating into that for two groups. Does that like take your time away from doing other things, or is it kind of just a passive type of, when you're on Facebook, you hop in there for a while?
It's kind of like that, especially at this point with how busy I am, like balancing a relationship, balancing more responsibility at work, diversifying my content, and not streaming as much as I used to. So it's like, if I'm on my phone and like the groups come up on my feed more than anything else, because I don't really post much on Facebook anymore unless it's in that group, just with how busy I am. Usually the first things are the things that generate the most comments. Usually if it's a bad thing, people getting into debates and stuff like that, that's when they filter the fastest and they fly to the top of the algorithm, especially as a moderator. So kind of like we deal with it there, or people will just report a post which we get a personal notification for, or like a moderator. I think there's like 12 or 13 moderators in one of the groups. Something comes up, they're going to be like, hey, what do you guys think of this? They'll usually tag 3 or 4 people that they think are around at that time of day. Be like, what should we do with this? What do you want to do with this guy? Or, hey, just a heads up, this guy got booted. If he's got a problem with that, send him this way for a message and an explanation, whatever. But it's not too much of an occupying task.
And on the subject,
if anything, it's more than like you see 50 people requesting to join the group a day. You just see if they answer the questions, you approve or deny.
Just hit them, yes, yeah. On the subject of social media, I don't mean to bring up something that is a little somber, but we're on Twitter account number 2.
Oh, well, that's a funny thing. For all of the situations I've been involved with on social media, particularly Twitter, it was a copyright video from 2018. I don't even know what the tweet was. I don't know what the song was.
And you had no malicious intent, nothing.
I'd never gotten a warning about DMCA either, I don't think. They just caught like 3 strikes and wiped them out all at once and banned me. It's still not a permanent suspension, but the level that I've had to fight and claw to get through around to, I have to go seek the original copyright holder and ask them to withdraw their hold on that tweet or something like that. I'm like,
that's wild.
I don't care that much.
It sucks because I know Healy got hit with his about around the same time. It probably the same wave of strikes that they were sending out, but it's like you guys lose out on a whole community you built. And, both of you have tried, and many other creators, it's not just the 2 of you, but many other creators have like started to build back that following. I think Ants is on his second Twitter account too. Like they both got banned for copyright stuff too. Yeah.
I don't know anyone. I'm not sure if anyone in the community with a following has gotten banned for anything besides copyright.
Because even though there are occasionally very stupid arguments on Twitter, most of them started by 16-year-olds who are, very good at the game, good for them, but they just think their shit don't stink, to be perfectly honest. But beside the point, everybody is civil enough on Twitter. Like, there's arguments, but usually, unless you're saying some really, really, really egregious stuff, people just let you say.
And
your
then
shit.
You'll find me coming after them afterwards.
Yeah. But like even then, you're not
even the kids that are aggressive and like to start arguments, I don't even find that as bad. It's more or less the people that aren't as involved in stuff on a daily basis because they're the first ones. I guess when you create content, most of them feel like they have something to lose if they were to act like that. So they're just raised better to act that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like the anonymous kids that no one really knows of. That's always looking at like when you have someone going after a scam. I'm like, what the hell is wrong?
Another friend of the show who is one of the nicest human beings on this earth.
Like, I'm not saying anyone deserves to have someone toxic come at them, but when someone makes a rude comment towards Scuffy or Scan or Shelfie or Dim, I'm like, what?
You're picking on the wrong guys. Like,
I'm like, listen, when you come at me, at least I kind of get it because I'm like kind of not that I'm looking for it, but like I know my words might come across a little more pointed, and you're a little like, hey, this guy says something that like hits me on a personal level. I'm like, okay, well, we'll talk about it. Mm-hmm. But like when people go after Scan, I'm like, Scan, just send them this way, please. Like I can handle it.
Redirect the traffic. Yeah, I mean,
I'm like, you're better than me. Let me be the guy.
As amazing as this community is, by and large, we talked about it. Everybody's so nice. I've had people give up their time to come on my podcast, knowing not a thing about me. Like I started my podcast, and my 3rd episode was Scuffy. I just reached out. I was like, "Hey, man, I have 3 listeners. Do you want to be on my podcast?" He's like, "Absolutely." Like there is so much just nice, kind, generous people. So many of them in our community. There's still a lot of toxic shit. I played a ranked game today. Ranked has been driving me insane all season, all year. It's stale. It's harder than it's ever been to do anything. This season, sidebar, this season alone, I've been 898, 888, 890, 80, like 6 or 85. I've lost every single World Series game, and they're all close because of stupid shit. So I will make World Series this year. I've done it every year or every season but the first one, because the first one it required too many games. But like I lost a game. I was 890. I lost 4-2. Reasonable game. I had 7 hits. He had 4. By no means was it an utter domination. He pitched with Bob Feller. I hadn't seen Bob Feller in ranked yet. It was on Hall of Fame. It was a little quick, a little fast.
He's nasty on Hall of Fame. He is not
exactly.
I am 100% with the people that talk about the hits per 9 issue. But the bottom line is, if I can't read what's coming out of your hand, or if you got outlier, I'm going to have problems.
And the changeup is so slow. It's like, whoa,
Walter Johnson gives me problems.
Yeah.
Nolan Ryan gives me problems. It doesn't matter if you have a slider. If you throw 102 and you have relatively decent hits per 9, I have a problem.
But now, so I lose to this guy. It was not a toxic game. There was some weird shit. Like his pitching strategy, obviously it worked because I couldn't hit the ball, but like, a little toxic sometimes. I lose the game. I go on to Twitch an hour and a half later just to check something. I get a whisper. I'm like, oh boy, this will be great. He goes, hey bro, I just kicked your ass, but good for you for getting 2 runs off Bob Feller. I'm like, sir, I had 7 hits and you had 4. You didn't kick my ass. If anything, I hit better than you. You just happen to have more runners across the plate because they were on a better base to start with. Like, it's like that toxic shit doesn't fly with me. But also I know this, like if you put twitch.tv on your team name, you sign up for that because you're marketing yourself while also making yourself vulnerable at the end of the day. And that's what it comes down to.
The majority of games I play now will have someone, they'll at least view it and like send a message later, or they'll like be in the chat before or after. And like, I get it. It's always cool to face a streamer, even though I'm not a big streamer, but like, they're like, GG, I just beat you. I'm like, yo, if you look at my record, like there's nothing really to that. Like, good for you, but like, I'm not great.
Yeah. I'm all like, if you want to come in chat while I'm playing you and say, hey man, I'm playing you, or hey man, GG, or good luck. Cool. That's just being a nice person. But if you're going to start like throwing shit my way after you beat me, or after I do something that you don't like, come on, you know? And then there's the people who put on their toxic show for streamers. Like, oh, you're a streamer and you're live. I'm going to bunt dance every single time I have a chance to. That's like, guys, why are we children? Why are we children? We don't have to be.
This guy that I've known from the group for like a couple of years matched up with me last year, I think. And like, he was like, oh, I got so excited facing you. Sorry, I was being toxic. I'm like, you know me. I'm like, I'm not even somebody. So it's not like I'm a random stream that you're like, you see like a Twitch title thing and you're like, oh, wow, he's a streamer. Like, I'm like, you know who I am. You know, I'm not big. So why are you doing this? There's not a lot of people watching you. I'm like, walked his ass off anyway. And I was pumped up about it. And he was like, yo, sorry about that. And I was like, nah. I was like, take it out back. Get out of here.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, play how you want to play. If you think you need to steal from second, bunt, and round third and score to do things like, I mean, if that's how you play, that's how you play. But
if you then it's bad, then congratulations.
Yeah, like if you're not confident in your hitting ability, I mean, that's on you. But at the end of the day, it's don't have the audacity to then say shit. Is really what it comes down to.
I also find it incredibly annoying when I create content. I didn't sign up to be a role model. I'm not the leader of the Peace Corps. I'm not supposed to go send you a carrier pigeon with some candies after a game, whether I win or lose. And this game is frustrating, and it's not even what the player does. It's the way the game's feedback system plays. It's the way the hitting engine works, the pitching, the
timing,
the
of everything. Yeah.
So if I'm upset that I square something up and it goes nowhere, I am not mad at you, but I'm going to let out my frustrations. I'm in a public forum where people are watching me get my ass kicked, and and the game will not let me put up a fight sometimes. And they're like, oh, these guys complain so much. Like, I think Chev gets the most unnecessary hate for being like, complaining. I'm like, this guy is literally just voicing his displeasure with how he gets rewarded for being one of the better and more skilled people. It's literally like me making a pizza perfectly, put the right amount of cheese, the right amount of sauce, I put in the oven at the right temperature for the right amount of time. And then when it's done, the pizza just literally burns, folds, and falls in the garbage. That's literally how it works.
That's a great analogy. It really is.
That doesn't happen. And that's why I like my job, because I do it right and it comes out right. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's people have to realize too, content creators, and you know, everyone defines content creator differently. I make a podcast. I consider myself a content creator, but like,
put something out there, you're a content creator. That's all there is. And
generally speaking, though, we play the game more than everybody else. That doesn't make us better people. It doesn't make us, you know, more entitled to our opinions. But if there's any such thing as an authority on something, it's probably the people who experience it most. And someone like Chev, who not only plays it the most, but is incredible at the game when it's working, I think his opinion matters. Like, I think, and you know, it's not, you could be, I don't want to say Kevin God is bad at the game. He's clearly not, but he's not a top 50 player.
But there's like
when he complains,
that people game on. He
Exactly.
is an entertaining guy who happens to be good. Chev
Yes.
is a top player who went into content creation, stuff like that. And like, he's also one of my closer friends in the community with this kind of stuff too. And like, I hate seeing the hate he gets because that guy puts so much work into what he does. And like, if you've never played a game on Legend, do not tell someone how to feel when they have about the same amount of time to react to a pitch as a major leaguer does that squares it up. And it's not like it gets caught by someone on a line drive. It's a pop-up sometimes. Or it's like, and the way the game plays at sometimes of the day.
Depending on the day, it's crazy.
People don't even recognize that stuff. So it's like, stop telling that guy to complain when you don't understand the situation.
And players I think part of the problem with the PCI feedback not making any sense, especially on those pop-ups, you think that should at least be fly balls to the outfield. Hitters this year, especially more than ever before, get locked into swing animations that fundamentally impact the way the ball is hit off the barrel. Like Mookie Betts gets this a ton. I think Mookie's one of the best cards in the game. He's probably never leaving my lineup. When that man squares it up, it's an absolute missile. But on pitches outside, he sometimes gets that little like stretch to the outside part of the plate animation, and no matter how you hit it,
he flails at it
nowhere,
and like rolls it over.
Exactly.
And see how it's just kind of like a common thing that you're just like, it's a thought in your head. It was a thought in my head. It literally happened today. I streamed it today, and then I edited it, and then I put it up, and like even when it happened, I'm like, damn it, he always rolls over that slider. And then when I was editing it, I was like, damn it, he always rolls over that slider. And then as soon as you brought it up, I'm like, he rolled over that one slider. But if you throw it inside, it's torched. It's the opposite for Soriano.
Or you almost have to be late on it to hit it with authority. It's the only way.
More or less. And that's why I hate the way that the feedback seems to change, the way the timing windows change on the time of day. Because here's another thing that infuriates me. When you look at swing feedback and you post like a good time swing that goes nowhere, they're like, well, it was on the late side of good. I'm like,
but it's still good.
Like I'm gonna slap you upside the head. If you go early, you can hit it 450 feet.
Yeah.
If you go late, it'll bounce just inside fair territory, then into the stands for a ground rule double. So don't tell me if it says good, but on the late side it shouldn't be hit. I'm like, shut up. I'll slap your whole family.
Yeah.
That's because hear that.
The swing feedback bar, I guess we'll call it, was it's good, just late, or I guess it depends on the side you're on, but it's good and then just early / just late. And then very early, very late. I hit a ball today with Vladimir Guerrero in that Bob Feller game. It's Vladimir Guerrero Sr. High slider, upper inside quadrant of the zone. Turned on it. PCI couldn't have been any better. I was just early. Just early can be foul. I get it. It probably shouldn't always be, but it can be. This ball was almost behind him as a foul ball. I'm like, sir, that's not just early. I perfectly squared the ball up. That should be like on the foul line. Like it should be that close where we need a call from the umpire. Like the system doesn't make sense and it's not consistent.
More than ever, it feels like when you're swinging late on inside pitches, you're still pulling them. I had it happen 2 times today. They weren't hits, or I think only one of them like fluked a hit. But I'm like, I don't get this.
Yeah, and like that's baseball crowd. Trust me, I hear you. I played baseball my whole life. I played club baseball in college.
They don't even know what baseball is. They don't know what physics are because they don't even like exit velo. I'm like, that's a huge proponent of baseball.
But like
Ted, like while we're there, people complain about how launch angle is ruining baseball. Ted Williams is the launch angle creator. He is the originator behind launch angle.
If I hit under the ball, it'll go somewhere, or at least like slightly under the ball, you know?
He just happened to face guys that threw 80 miles an hour and saw them 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Not taking credit from him, but that's how it goes.
And like that's baseball. You're right. Sometimes there will be late hits. Sometimes little dinky balls will bleed over the first baseman. Sometimes it'll take a weird bounce. It'll hit a base. It'll hit a pitcher in the shin. But like,
it doesn't happen 2 plays in a row, 3 plays in a row.
Yeah, pitchers don't field 95% of comebackers. They just don't. Pitchers don't react quick enough. It's not to say they're not good athletes or fielders. It's just that when a ball is rocketed off the bat at even 90 miles an hour, you have no time to react. The fact that they even get a glove on it is miraculous. And it's caught at least 95% of the time in this video game. Like, that's not baseball. That does not make sense. And there's a lot of other things, and I know I'm nitpicking, but I like ranting about this game and you listen to me do it. So God damn it, keep listening.
I'm going to bring up one thing from Quash, who always brings it home, and I'm so on board with it. The shifts in the game are ridiculous. Players
absolutely so stupid.
Babe Ruth was born before there was even a shift.
Exactly. There shouldn't be
a shift.
The first person I could remember who was really shifted, David Ortiz. That's the first person I can remember who was shifted. Anybody before him, they should not get a shift. Absolutely not.
Like Joey Gallo has a shift. Give him a shift.
Mm-hmm.
Or it would be two. Baseball games already take long enough. A decent time ranked seasons game where both of you score a couple of runs takes about 40, 45 minutes. Even like now that I've really got it hammered down because I'm doing recordings, almost every video is like 47 minutes because I talk for a few minutes, then I play a game, then I talk for a few minutes. It's almost always about 45 minutes.
Yep.
No one wants to spend any more time figuring out a shift so they have auto shifts. But let some kind of preset menu come up. Just the same way when you're playing Road to the Show, if you've ever played Road to the Show, when you come up, it'll be like the manager's telling you to do this. Or when you're in the outfield, they're saying like move in, move out. Why don't you just give them the same option in Diamond Dynasty? Where Sebrev is like one of the greatest minds in this community when it comes to playing the game.
Yes.
There's so many good creators. There's so many good players that go, hey, do this. It'll help you do better. Like, I've watched so many videos of so many top players that have helped me attack my own approach in the game, but his mental breakdown of stuff is just next level. And when he has that kind of stuff, I'm like, this guy's obviously going to be more mindful of these shifts and whatnot. Mm-hmm. I'm not looking to go, okay, I'm going to move my center fielder a little more to the right for this guy because he tends to have a better timing window on late pitches. I'm like, I don't think of that, but these guys do. They need something. If they want the guys to focus on the shifts and stuff like that, make it a little more realistic, because even lower level guys tend to, I feel like I'm not saying poorly skilled, because most of these guys were like me. They didn't even know how deep this game goes in terms of like the knowledge and the IQ of Diamond Dynasty. They tend to favor more real baseball. When you get a bloop your way, when you get like these bad animations, when you bunt cheese, that's just baseball. I'm like, they understand more than anything that you should have some kind of option to set up a shift.
Yes.
Make it an option when you have a guy with a severe shift. You want to shift, you want to, or when you bring up Lou Brock and he's hitting 415, you know that guy's not swinging every time. Yeah. He's either contact swinging or he's bunting every time. Do you want to bring the third baseman in? I don't want to press down and then press down 4 times for a third baseman to cover the drag. Just put up an option to shift for 2 or 3 seconds before I throw a pitch. Press one button, they'll move in the third baseman or they'll move in the first baseman.
In real time. Yeah, see, I've been thinking about this for a while, and my idea for a solution is in the pre-game menu, you add another menu.
Just like 2K.
You have 60 seconds. Here's your opponent's batting lineup. Set every shift individually that you'd like. You can turn it off mid-game. During certain situations, you're like, oh shit, I need to bring the corners in. He might bunt. You could go to the menu and do that. But add one more strategic menu where it's like, you're the manager. How do you want to attack this lineup? That, in theory, solves your problems. Like if I want to shift Joey Gallo, I shift Joey Gallo. Mookie Betts, who is more of a quote-unquote pure hitter, I'll leave my fielders straight up. I won't touch them.
That's like right on with it. It's like 2K. At least the last time I played 2K a couple of years ago, when you're loading up, you can play man-to-man on that guy. You can play zone on that guy, or you can switch, maybe put the small forward on the shooting guard and swap them, vice versa, whatever you want to do. An option like that would be very helpful. I will say they've been very good with quality of life improvements the last couple of years, so I feel like that could be one of the next things coming up, along with adding a PCI to place a bunt.
Yes.
If you swing, you got to put a PCI.
You have to follow the ball. Bunting is either too hard or too easy, depending on if you're good at it or not. And
exactly. The only times I ever try to bunt, I end up popping it right back at the first baseman to step on the bag for a double play.
And I cannot drag bunt. It's funny because that was my only actual real baseball tool when I was playing the game in real life. I was the best drag bunter on the team. Every time I'd drag, steal, and I'd score. Like that's the way I played, which I understand is incredibly toxic in a video game. That's why I don't do that. But I also I cannot drag bunt in this video game. I cannot do it. And then there's some people who will go 9 straight batters on an all-speed team, drag bunt safely every time. And I don't understand it. I don't get it. And, going back to speed too, stealing is broken. And I don't know how to fix it. But like Trey Turner with his 97 speed or 97 stealing attribute, the man gets the worst jumps I've ever seen. And I don't understand it. Maybe I'm just bad at it. but I don't
The
get
way it works, my opponent gets all the steals and I get none.
exactly. There's if
When I,
there's
when I
like a
try to
quota,
automatically time it, I'm always off. The jump is bad. It's not right aligned with the trigger when I try to do it.
Mhm.
And
if I take a
someone
lead, I'm
stole-
picked off. I'm automatically picked off if I take a lead. That's part of the problem too.
someone stole with like 45 stealing off Adley Rutschman, and I'm like,
It makes no sense.
and like I have
but that's baseball.
accuracy on, so it lets me pick the part on the meter to make the throw.
Mhm.
And I'm like, when you hit the perfect part in the green, he throws it harder, he throws it more accurate. So I'm like, why is that guy still on second base?
And the other thing that happens when people try to steal against me is my throw meter just doesn't appear. Sometimes it does and sometimes it doesn't. And I swear I'm reacting the same every time I see someone stealing. So I don't understand. I don't think it's my fault. It could be, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
It's just the game is, we love it because it's baseball and we're pure baseball fans, but it's also incredibly frustrating.
Like I went to TwitchCon one year and I actually got to meet some of the guys that work for SDS. I met a bunch of the streamers, the bigger guys, whatever. And I met Ramon, and which I want to start with this. All the people that make like disgusting comments about like the devs and stuff like that. Ramon Russell is 6'6".
He'll kick your ass.
Not a single one of these people, kid or not, would say anything to this man's face. He is 6'6". This guy works out. I'm like, this. Because when I shook his hand, I'm like, bro, if people saw how tall you were, they would shut up instantly. Yeah. We had to laugh about it. And I was like, by the way, thank you for the pizza bat skins.
Also, as an aside, Ramon, like, he is like a nice guy. Like, he does a lot. Like, the MLB The Show devs, you can critique them for actually their development skills, but they listen to this community, and Ramon listens more than you think. We literally have a scene in my Twitch streams where before something important's about to happen, we go to the SDS church and we pray to Pope Ramon. Like, Ramon is a good dude. Stop giving him shit, but continue your story. I'm sorry.
What's another thing, because that is his personal Twitter account.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything out of that. When they scream at like the tweets that are putting out content updates, I'm like, that those guys don't code the game either. So like, you're yelling at them, you get nothing out of that.
It's just falling on deaf ears, guys.
Spam the bug report, and when you feel like they don't listen, like I've suggested in years past with pack odds and stuff, I'm like, stop buying packs, stop buying the game.
Mm-hmm. Oh, pack odds. Listen, at this point in the year's cycle, standard packs really should hardly even exist anymore. I know everybody picks up the game at different times, so they have to still be there. But like, we know what packs are, guys.
Oh yeah,
we know you're
speaking of like years past when it was. I think 17 was the last year of god awful pack odds. 18 was the first year Trout wasn't crazy expensive all year. Like he's still expensive, don't get me wrong, but when 500,000 stubs was the cap, he was always at that.
Mm-hmm.
In 18, I think he dropped to like 200,000 stubs opening night because so many people ripped packs and pulled them.
Yep.
Then like 19, 20, 21, like look how cheap he is now because so many people pull him and they've made it so much easier to get him in pulling choice packs and stuff like that.
The 90 plus, the guaranteed diamond, my buddy pulled him in a silver player pack the other day. That's an outlier, but like it happens. Like
that's disgusting. I've never pulled a diamond out of a silver pack.
He pulled Mike Trout out of a silver pack, and I shit you not, because I got the notification on my phone. 3 minutes later, he pulled him out of a standard. He got 2 Trouts in 3 minutes. However, they were both 110K, so they weren't expensive.
You're like, good. You don't deserve all those stubs.
Exactly. You don't deserve 600,000 free stubs, you lucky bastard.
Because what I would do is I would flip the market until I could buy him. I would usually buy him opening night by flipping I
bought him the first week. I saved all my stubs. I didn't spend a dime.
Flip like a maniac, get him. And then I would buy a second one just purely for a flip because he always gets more expensive as time goes on because that's when stubs come into the game and inflate the market, whether you're doing programs, missions, whatever you want to do. Because as you've noticed, like as the year goes through, it's so much easier to make stubs. The game gives you so many more stubs. The market tends to saturate a little bit and go up a little bit.
And then there's a stub
up or
sale
down, depending on they're doing flash sales and stuff.
Yeah.
But like knowing, like one of the most guaranteed things that Trout flies up until we start getting more competitive outfielders because he always gets more and more expensive. I used to buy him around 300 the first week, and like a couple weeks later, you sell him for 500.
Yeah,
just like a guaranteed like solid flip to sit on for that.
Don't buy packs, guys. During flash sales, sometimes if it's the right situation. I bought the headliner bundle, and literally I made a TikTok of this. I don't TikTok a lot because I don't have the mind for the creativeness of TikTok, but I TikTok this. I bought the headliner bundle where it guarantees you one headliner card. We went to church with Ramon. We prayed to Ramon. I said, Ramon, I don't care about a single other thing in this world. This is Christian Yelich, and it has to be. I opened the pack, Christian Yelich. Ramon was listening to my prayers. That's the only time a flash sale has ever worked for me in my entire life.
That's the thing. I never buy the packs from the flash sale. When I see like a headliner's available, I found like the most expensive headliner, and I buy into that because some people are going to pull them and the price will drop. Or if it's
Buy the
like
dips.
like when they had what pack was it with Lou Brock? Field of Dreams, maybe? He's like one of the low tiers.
Yes.
I don't know if you can see it here. I'm on the app. I have 160 of this man right now.
Wow, just waiting for it to climb up. I love it.
I bought them at 5,000 stubs each. I didn't spend more than 5,010 stubs.
And they're going to go up to probably 8 or 9-ish, most likely.
His buy now is 5,995 right now. It's fluctuated a little bit. It went up to like 62 before, 63. So,
and I think we're getting another field of
bought some back, sold a couple, bought some back. But like eventually when people stop buying those packs, they're not as available. Once it hits even like 65, 7,000, that's a clean 1,000, 1,500 off every single card.
Yeah. I think we're getting another Field of Dreams pack tomorrow in the daily moments if you've kept up with them. So it might even dip all the way down to quick sell again. So
exactly. And then I'm like, buy more, get in more on it, or sell off, make a couple of stubs off each one where it is right now. Because even at 5,900 stubs, you're still making a couple hundred. It's a guaranteed profit. Just get on that. And then once people can't get the free packs anymore at the start of the new month, that will go up a little bit. Go and get it then. Because even then, I'm sitting at 1.4 million right now. I have other stuff I'm tied into anyway, but
yeah, I'm hovering right around 1 million right now, and I have investments out the yin yang. All live series, because I this year is the first time I've really started investing in the roster updates. But like I have 340 Frankie Montas because that man's gonna go gold to the moon. I've got like 100 Goldschmidts. I've got Tyler O'Neill's. I mean, basically make the whole Cardinals starting lineup diamond, and I'll be the richest man in this game. So
I've been abusing that the silver to gold exchange.
Yep.
So just by doing that, I had like 200, 300 packs. And out of that, I pulled like 10 Tyler O'Neill. So I'm like, I spent 500 stubs on each card that turned into a gold, and 10 of those are Tyler O'Neill. So 500, I spent 5,000 stubs on 10 Tyler O'Neills that's about to go diamond.
Instant profit. The easiest profit you can make. It's wild that also now the app allows you to be so quick and instant with making your investments that if you're smart, man, you'll never have to spend. I mean, you don't have to spend a dime on this game anyway, but you'll literally never have to spend a dime on this game if you're just smart with your investments.
You really don't, especially next year. I want, especially for content purposes, I want to do a no money spent squad and like grind from the bottom up, just because it's more likely to get people to watch. Like I spent quite a bit just to get like live series done out of the way the first couple of weeks, and that was cool. It was fun, like beating the piss out of the ball with Soriano in the 500s and stuff.
Yeah,
but like, it's also cool to like have a bunch of nobodies like showing up and whooping ass as well. So I'm looking forward to that.
I like that. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, talk some ads. Then we're going to come back and we're going to talk a little bit more about balancing work and content creation, because not all of us are blessed enough to be able to do this full time. But we're also, I mean, quick little teaser here. Last night's Yankee game was the most exciting Yankee game I've watched in a long ass time. And you bet your ass we're going to praise Giancarlo Stanton up and down in about 5 minutes. So just hang on for that. And if you're not a Giancarlo Stanton fan, I also need you to stay and listen because you're wrong. But first, we're going to get to the ads. As always, it's Thrive Fantasy. We're super excited to work with Thrive Fantasy. It's a daily fantasy sports app that's based around player props. It's eliminated the need to do countless hours of research like other DFS apps because it only asks you about the top tier athletes in a respective sport. To play MLB games on Thrive Fantasy, you can play NFL, NBA, esports. There's 100 different things you can play. Soccer, which I don't follow. But you just choose 5 out of the 10 player prop options to build your lineup. Each prop has a fantasy point total associated with the over or under based on how likely it is to occur. More points a selection is worth, the riskier it is. Rack up the most points possible, and you could win a share of the prize pool. If you're looking to play games and make some money this season, next season, or in seasons in the future, use promo code THESHOW, when you sign up for Thrive Fantasy, and you'll receive an instant $20 bonus on your first deposit of $20 or more. Download Thrive Fantasy on the App Store or Google Play Store, or by going online to thrivefantasy.com. Sign up and prop up today. Next, it's our friends at Dugout Creative. And this has become a running bit on the channel. I show you the ad read and I throw it away. Just buy Dugout Creative stuff, please. The shirts are super comfortable. You can support all of your favorite content creators or a lot of your favorite content creators. They're not all there necessarily. You can buy merch for your favorite team cities that they live in. You know, you buy New York stuff, Baltimore stuff, pick your city stuff. Super comfy. If you use kdjTV at checkout, you get 15% off. Dugoutcreative.com. kdjTV, please do it. Thank you for doing it. Finally, Rogue Energy. So people who have been in my streams lately have been seeing me chugging this stuff. Rogue Hydration. So there is no caffeine in it, but it gives you all the focus elements that you'd want from like a gaming energy drink. And this is a true story. I matched up with someone in BR. This was not during my 12-0 run, separate run. The man was 56-0. That's not an exaggeration. His record was 56-0. That means he's never lost in ranked. I made him rage quit after 1 inning because I hit 8 home runs in the first inning, and every single ball I touched was a nuclear missile. And I was chugging this stuff while doing it. And I can swear to you, this is why it happened. So Rogue Energy is specifically designed for gamers. It could be a pre-workout. It could be a coffee or energy drink replacement. It's just, in my opinion, it is the best gaming drink on the planet. And the best part, look at the bottom here. It completely dissolves. There's no chalky shit at the bottom. Completely dissolves in water. Tastes great. Just buy it. You go to rogueenergy.com, kdjTV for 10% off your entire order. I promise you, if you want to be locked in and feel like you've never been locked in like that before, Rogue Energy. That also, none of this was written on this piece of paper. I kind of just went ad lib there. But hey, we did it. Finally, merch. Pinned in my Twitter bio or profile. It'll be in the comment section below. If you want to support the show, you want to support me, I appreciate it. We have the show, the podcast shirts, mugs, stickers. I actually made a new design the other day for Pinpoint God. I don't know, kind of fun. I'm messing around with designing myself. I'm not the best designer yet, but we're getting there. You can't learn unless you try it. So if you want to support me, my link is available on Twitter and in the YouTube description. Give it a look. You don't have to buy anything, but if you do, tag me in it and I'll thank you. So we're back and we're going to touch quickly on the balance of life. Everyone has to balance their own lives. It's not just content creation that you're balancing. It's relationships, it's family, it's sleeping sometimes. You know, it's life is a balance. And Mike is a very busy guy. Like he said, works in a restaurant, which hours are never convenient in a restaurant. I used to work in a pizzeria, like even in high school, and I'm not going to pretend that was my career, but like I was there all the time and I didn't like it because I didn't get to see my friends. But you know, and then there's content creation, which means so much now. It's Twitch, it's YouTube, it's TikTok, and those are all separate things that you have to account for. How do you do it? I know that's a pretty dumb question, but how do you do it?
I think I do a decent amount of balancing it, but it's ultimately just, I do everything that I want to do. I'm at the point in my life, I don't do things I don't want to do anymore. Like when you're a kid, you don't want to eat broccoli. You don't want to like go make your bed, whatever. Like when you're an adult, you can do whatever you want. And too many people kind of cling to like what other people want me to do. It's like, you're not happy unless you do things you enjoy doing. I don't have, if I factor in friendships, relationships, I consider that things I want to do and invest in. So that way I feel like I have no free time, but ultimately I'm always doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
I like working because that gives me worthiness for 40, 50 hours a week, sometimes 60. There's things that always have to be done when I'm at work too. The multitasking is ridiculous. There's so many things to keep an eye on. I like creating content in my free time because I like playing the game and I get to make something out of this. Mm-hmm. I make my Twitch streams into YouTube videos, and when the YouTube videos are chopped up, I turn those into my TikToks. So almost everything has a purpose in my life because it leads to something else. It's not like I treat everything and everyone as a commodity, but I maximize everything that I can. Like literally being a pizza guy is a part of my Twitch brand and is now part of a merchandise, an LLC I created literally because I make pizza. Which I wanted to talk to you about. So this is probably as good a time as any. While we're on this subject, tell me about Gold Pizza Company. Tell the people about Gold Pizza Company. I should have worn something. I'm usually pretty good at admitting I'm a sellout. I didn't really do much today. That's okay. We're celebrating the Yankees. It's fine. Yeah. One of my first emotes on Twitch was like me swinging a pizza bat, but then like another one, like the tier 3 was a gold slice of pizza. And for a small streamer, I had a decent amount of tier 3 subs because they wanted the gold slice. And like, I want to say 6 months or a year into it, someone was like, you should put that on a shirt. Like, do you have any like merchandise? I'm like, no, I don't. But I'm like, that's a great idea. So I had her like blow it up a little bit, like better quality, and like put it on a shirt. We sold it a bunch and it was cool. But like the quality on Teespring, I'm not knocking anyone who has Teespring merch.
That's what I use. It's a good introductory to merch. Yeah.
With how intricate that particular emote like drawing is, it does not transfer very well onto bigger things and stuff like that. And their own quality control was rough. My friend ordered 3 sweatshirts. Each one had a different size pizza slice and like a different part of like, it's supposed to be up here. Like one of them was like there, one of them was like there, the other one was there, but like 3 times the size it was supposed to be. They ended up sending like brand new ones to them. Although their more expensive hoodie is like the most comfy thing you could ever wear. Ultimately, it was very limited in things I wanted to sell too.
Yeah.
Where like Kyle has awesome merch that works through Teespring. Kevin has great merch through Teespring. I know Magunski and I think Goobs have also run their merch through Teespring, and like those came out perfectly. But my specific logos and things, especially with the more intricate Slicezilla thing I tried to have my friend draw up, that did not transfer well at all either. It's just the colors they use, I don't know what it was, but nothing really matched. We tried it on shirts and hoodies. Nothing really came through smooth. I had a friend who works for John Boy Media. He runs some of their socials and stuff like that. I was like, where do you guys get your merchandise like printed on? Because I assume you guys, with how crazy your schedule is and how your company is literally turning into a media empire overnight, like what site do you guys run through? What warehouse do you run through? So I've been using Printful for that stuff. It's been such a smoother, better experience. It lets you charge different pricing based on shipping with this one because some things cost more than others. It's more intricate. It helps me track orders better because sometimes I notice the warehouse hasn't gone out yet. So I can go look into why didn't that happen, as opposed to sending out an email and getting 3 days later, hey, why this thing hasn't been sent out yet when I could have already resolved it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But yeah, it's just cool because my job became a part of my Twitch brand, which then turned into merchandise that a decent amount of people have bought. And now I have people that I was able to bring on as like influencers, as partners that get a cut of the sale if they use their code.
Yep. And that's just, I mean, that's expanding the brand. And that's like, if you're a content creator or you want to get into content creation, or, you know, even if you don't think you have a viewership, a following, you know, everyone kind of defines that differently, but like, I made merch like 6 months into having this podcast, not even knowing how many people listen. I was like, it's free for me to make merch. If people like the show, they can purchase it. It doesn't cost me a single dime. It doesn't impact my life. I make it, I leave it up there. I pay attention to it, of course. It's not like a neglectful thing, but it's like, give people the option. If it doesn't hurt you to do it, let it exist. And that's how you build your brand, because people wear the shirt, people wear it out in public. They're like, oh, what's that? Oh, it's a podcast I listen to. Oh, it's a Twitch streamer I like. You gotta, get butts in seats. And to do that, you gotta kind of, gotta push a little bit.
Yeah. It is funny,
especially if it's free.
It's smaller with that stuff because more and more people start to interact with that kind of stuff. And it's much cooler to be into video games now than it used to be.
Very much so.
Like 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you never would have thought of someone who was good at a video game also being like a fitness influencer or showing the in-home gym they've built to focus on their health more and like therefore lead their viewers to a healthier lifestyle as well.
Yeah, it's crazy that gaming is just now it's entertainment, and it was always personal or individual entertainment, but now it is like widespread entertainment for the masses. And you don't have to be good at the game. Does it help if you're good at the game? Does it help if you're Chev, if you're Ninja, if you're whoever? Sure, people want to watch good gameplay, but like I have 10-ish people in my streams. I'm not the best. I grind for World Series, like grind for it. I just try to be entertaining. You only have to be yourself and be a little fun, and like you can impact people with whatever message you want to spread. Hopefully it's a positive one, but like you just gotta be you. I think that's really cool.
Everyone has their own identity to own. And even if they have a fake persona that works and sells, I'm like, let people do what they want to do. People are like, this guy puts on a persona for YouTube. I'm like, your favorite actor doesn't do that shit for his living in real life.
Exactly.
Let him be what he wants to be. He doesn't have, you don't know who he is personally anyway. It is none of your business what he is off of the camera.
Like, friend of the show, Ashley Sanders. We shouted out before. We're shouting her out again. Her streams are the bastion of positivity. There is not a more positive, welcoming person in this community than Ashley. She will also let you know if you're off your rocker and like, hey, check yourself before you come in here again, because like, I don't accept that in my stream. She is like, I mean, it sounds so corny and I almost hate saying it, but like, she's shining a light. Like, she's being a positive impact on her community. And it's great to see. It's how everybody should be.
It was awesome to see her kind of come in and get picked up so fast.
Yes.
Get partner so fast and build like such a big positive community. Because like when I'll see people talking on the Facebook group or on Reddit, and like people will be like, I like this person, I like this person. But like when it's her, there's never a bad thing to say about her.
Not a single thing.
Unless they were bitter that she got put into that content creator challenge thing, which like, sorry, this is not a top player invitational. So
and I think people were more upset because they're like, who is this person? Like, I've never heard of her before. And they were just upset, like, oh, she can do it. Why can't I? Well, it's because she's a nice person. That's why she can do it. That's why you're not getting the opportunities, because you're not a nice person.
Everyone has a calling card. And if you don't, then you got to work on one. You can't get mad at other people having platforms elsewhere that lead into other things. Like, it's the same thing as people going, well, look at this TikToker only getting popular because of this or that. I'm like, then go do it. You're saying they only have it for that one basic reason. So go do it.
And if you think you can do it like them, then, hey, you should be just as successful, right? Like, you gotta, everyone has a hustle. Everyone has a hustle, and you gotta respect the hustle. You say calling card, and we're going to use this as a really strange segue into the next topic of discussion. Giancarlo Stanton's calling card is hitting absolute effing nukes over the green monster. And last night, me and my girlfriend were sitting on the couch. She was asleep. She just had a very long day, 3 long days in a row of work. She was sleeping. I was watching the Yankee game. I started laughing hysterically when Stanton hit the ball over the fence. Laughing, like maniacally, because I just couldn't believe he did it again. And she woke up. She's like, what is so funny? I'm like, nothing, the Yankee game. He, 2 nights in a row, murdered baseballs. And I hope Boston is still crying about it. Unbelievable.
I think every home run he hit was the final score. Like, the Red Sox didn't score afterwards. So he like literally stuck a knife in their back every single time he hit a home run.
The nail in the coffin.
And what's even more annoying about it is all the Yankee fans that are loving him. We need to say it here because my first Twitter account is no longer with us. I've been on this train since the day we traded for him. Everyone's like, strikeout this, injury that, yoga this, clutch that. Shut up. This man's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. And it's like, people complain about, oh, he strikes out too much for his contract. You're not paying it. You shouldn't give a shit about the contract. You're not paying it.
It's not your money. It never was your money. It never will be your money. Your tickets don't pay for it.
Guess what? If the Yankees wanted their payroll to be double what it is now, all Steinbrenner has to say is, okay, there's limitless money, with some of these owners. Like, as much as they want. Like, the smallest market team on the planet could be the richest tomorrow if they wanted to. The money doesn't matter.
I don't think he owns the team anymore, but the owner of the Royals was like the founder of Walmart, like the CEO of Walmart. Like,
literally the richest human being in baseball, probably.
I don't care about where your team plays. If you own a baseball team, you can literally sign any player in baseball. You can afford any player on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Stop asking for a hometown discount when you have the local taxpayers fund your stadium. You charge them $20 to park a mile away. You charge them $50 to park next door, $15 a beer, $20 a burger, $30 for a bucket of chicken, and then say, sorry, we couldn't afford that one guy.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't make sense. Like, I understand, sure, COVID shutdown impacted franchises. Absolutely. There was a lot of money lost. I will not even pretend to know what the figures are because it's probably tens, maybe even hundreds of millions of dollars. It's a figure I can never wrap my head around because I'll never see it myself. But like, you can't tell me these owners are poor. If they wanted to pay Stanton triple what he's making, they would. Like, they can. But yes, the man is a destroyer of baseballs. let's all also remind ourselves they traded Starlin Castro and a bag of donuts for him. Like, the man is an Adonis. He is a Greek god. People know this if you've listened. If you're a new listener, I'm going to tell you, I used to cover high school sports on Long Island. That was my job. During the summers, I would cover Yankees and Mets games. I was allowed to be in the press box, in the locker room, write stories for the next morning's paper. Dream job of my life. I achieved my lifelong dream at 23 years old. It's the coolest thing in the world. I've stood next to Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. Giancarlo Stanton looks like he was chiseled from marble. The man, sure, is he a little brittle? Maybe. How are we to say that? The man is a human you couldn't even comprehend being put together. He is so good at baseball. Stop booing the man. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand.
They boo Stanton every time he strikes out. DG LeMahieu hits into 3 double plays a week. We don't hear a word. And
now, did you see the DJ LeMahieu stat the other day? DJ LeMahieu has like the 6th or 7th highest average exit velocity in baseball, but he's only hitting 268. You know why? Because he doesn't get under the ball. If he got under the ball, he'd have 50 home runs this season. Exit velo and launch angle, guys. It's that simple.
And while we're on the narrative of like the Yankees this year, we keep hearing they need pitching, they need pitching, they need pitching.
The best ERA in the American League.
We woke up to the Yankees having the best ERA in the American League. The issue was hitting. And the issue was hitting because 3 or 4 of our best hitters have regressed because of juiced balls.
Mm-hmm.
Gio had a career year. DJ had a career year. Glaber had a career year. They took the juice out of the baseballs. A lot of guys struggled, but having 3 of those guys in the lineup, we thought the year of Stanton and Judge playing 140 games was going to be 110 wins. Instead, we're fighting just for a wild card game.
Yeah. And like, it hurts
because of the offense.
Yeah. It hurts that Luke Voit was injured a lot of this year. And then Rizzo comes in, and don't get me wrong, I love Rizzo, but like, let's find more ways to get Luke back in the lineup. Like, we got to be a little creative here.
And that's the other thing. I love the man. We are winning games in spite of Aaron Boone.
I'm usually not on the camp of, or in the camp of, oh, it's the manager's fault, because I think managers, generally speaking, have such little impact on the game of baseball as far as how it's played. It's up to the players to execute. But goddamn, putting Joely Rodriguez in the game last night when Clay Holmes just struck out the side on some of the filthiest stuff I've ever seen.
On 11 pitches.
And here's the thing. So he took out Clay Holmes because a lefty was coming up. It was Travis Shaw. Let's not play pretend here. Travis Shaw is not Babe Ruth. If it was Kyle Schwarber coming up, I'd be like, okay, let's put a lefty in the game. But it's Travis Shaw. Clay Holmes can get him out. I promise you. And if he throws 25 pitches tonight, it's a day off on Monday. He'll be fine for the next set of games. Like, it was such a bonehead move. And then Rodriguez ends up, he doesn't blow the game because they come back to win, but he was terrible. He was fucking awful.
The best way to put it into words, he manages the team like they have a 10-game lead in the division.
Yeah, they don't.
They just give Judge a day off here. They give.
We'll have Brett Gardner lead off
a day off here.
Yeah,
like these guys come off the DL. They hit 3 home runs in 4 games. They get a day off. They've been playing a lot. Like, bro, they just missed 2 weeks. What are you doing?
And why did we
24 years old?
I am on Team Glaber. I love Glaber Torres. I don't care that he's a dog shit fielder. But why did it take so long for them to realize, wow, he shouldn't be playing shortstop anymore? Do we not talk to the kid? I don't get it.
He was a week away from the Sonny Gray situation.
Yeah, he was almost going to be run out of the box.
He should not be on the field at that point in time. You need a sport therapist to help you get through this stuff. Baseball is a mental of a sport as anything else. When you were in someone's head. He was booting 2 plays a game at one point. I'm like, you were setting him up to fail. And once again, back to Boone. It has been confirmed by the team and by Boone, by Cashman. The Yankees are heavy on analytics. Mm-hmm. They built their roster around analytics, which has won baseball championships many, many years in a row. Although the Nationals tried not to build through analytics, all of their superstar performers in the playoffs and all that year in 2019 were analytic gods.
Yes.
So the Yankees built an analytic team, and they give Aaron Boone the free will to make the lineup. And he goes right against everything the team was built to be.
Exactly.
Luke Voit is an analytic dream. If you look at his numbers, you look at his batting average, you look at his on-base percentage, you look at his slugging percentage, you look at his OPS, you look at his park-adjusted OPS, you look at his weighted runs created, which is one of the most best singular numbers to look at when you evaluate a hitter, he is literally the same hitter as Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
He just is much more injury prone, doesn't play as often. He's also not as good defensively as Anthony Rizzo. I don't know what takes so much for this man who spent his entire life in baseball, I think he's a third-generation baseball head, to understand to DH Luke Voit, to put Anthony Rizzo at first base. And if you, now that we have Giancarlo Stanton able to play the outfield,
stop playing
put
Brett
him
Gardner.
in left, you put Gallo in center, you put Judge in right. The corpse of Brett Gardner has been overperforming for 2 months. I love Brett Gardner. He's one of my favorite Yankees. He should not be playing every single night.
Brett Gardner should be like
contracted for a diminished role. When Hicks went down, he played more. I understand. They put Andujar in left. He got hurt. I understand why he played more.
He was terrible too, though.
When Judge had COVID, they put him in the outfield. I understand that. This is the best outfield we've had in a decade, and he's still playing regularly. They got to stop with this, man.
Yeah, there's something lost with so Brett Gardner, like you said, I will forever respect Brett Gardner, forever respect that man. He continually has come back to the Yankees when he probably, if he really wanted to, could have gotten more money from other places because he's comfortable there, because he's won there, because he's a gritty, no bullshit type of guy.
He's the
apparently loves practical jokes, which I think is hysterical. If you listen to the R2C2 podcast with Ryan Rucco and CC Sabathia, you know that. But the man is a bench bat, not even a bench bat. Screw that. The man is a bench outfielder. The man
He's been hot for the last month or two also, which is good.
Yeah.
But it does not mean you put him in over Luke Voit because you put him in center. You're messing with Stanton got a DH, and then you're putting Rizzo. Either you're benching Rizzo or Voit, and that should not be the situation. This man led baseball in home runs last year.
And trust me, I understand the need for more lefties in the lineup, but Brett Gardner is not the lefty you need in the lineup. It's I'd rather just have another righty.
You have Rizzo and Gallo.
Yeah, and Brett Gardner doesn't even pull the ball that much. He wouldn't even be utilized as I don't know. Brett Gardner is a leader for the culture of the team. He belongs there. Late inning defensive replacement. You want to put Brett Gardner in left field in the 7th inning to take Stanton out if there's no key at bat coming up? Absolutely. That's his role. I'm about it. That's just like what they do with Tyler Wade coming in for some defense.
Especially if you want to pinch run Stanton in the 9th. Just have a guy a little faster on second base, scoring on a bloop single. Put him in there and then have him close out left field. He plays pretty well there, even though he's getting up there in age. But he needs to not be a focal point when the team is at full health. Yeah,
this year Boone has really hurt himself with managing this year. It's become health has been a problem with this team for a long time. It comes down to the team not being athletic enough. Analytically, they might be the perfect collection of players, but athletically, they don't have those super swift, super young, super I don't know. I don't mean to say everybody needs to be Fernando Tatis, but look at how athletic and exciting that man is. The Yankees don't have a single player anything remotely resembling what Fernando Tatis is. And that hurts them ultimately because they're slow, because they can't field. I mean, the outfield would field great if they're doing what we're saying, but they're missing some sort of excitement. And last night was good because all the power bats came up clutch when they had to, but they're missing something. They're missing a spark and they don't have it. And Boone sure as shit is not providing it. It's,
he pushed all the right buttons in 2019 when we broke the record for injuries by by a mile. But I don't think he's the man anymore. And although the regression of Gio, Glaber, and DJ can be attributed to the juice balls being taken away, the fact that they still haven't come back strong with the lower spin rates on sticky stuff bands, Marcus Thames has to go as well.
Yeah. It's
all about your philosophy. And if he can't see a 24-year-old who was one of the best second basemen in baseball 2 years ago, it's been a long enough stretch. He was good in the playoffs last year, but the 2020, 2021, he's been abysmal in regular season play. That is a long stretch. We're talking 600, 700 at bats of struggle. Yeah. This guy is supposed to be entering his prime. When he was the best second baseman in baseball, arguably heading into this year, 2 years ago, to see what he does now, where there is a level of accountability. Although you're a player, you're supposed to do this, you're supposed to do that. He's showing up at the park every day. He's not giving up. He's not jogging out everything. This guy is trying his best. That's when you look at the coaching staff. You go, what can this guy do to get this out of this guy?
Yep. It's also like,
Did we not pushing the right buttons anymore? And I don't think Marcus Thames is anymore.
Yeah.
That guy's not supposed to fix Aaron Judge. He's not supposed to fix Stanton. He's supposed to fix a young guy like Glaber. He's supposed to fix a guy like DJ. He's supposed to help a guy like Gio.
Yeah.
Or maybe Gio's a juice ball guy, then move him. I do think one of those guys is getting traded, and I unfortunately think it's going to be either Voit or Torres, which would be the biggest mistakes this team could do.
Yeah, 100%. And like, it's different situations because it's comparing a pitcher to a position player. But did we not learn from the Jabba rules? Let's not mess with these young guys. Let's put them in positions to succeed. Let's not switch it up. You want to give Glaber like a 25-30 game run in the beginning of the season at shortstop to see if he can handle it? Sure. That's testing him. If you test him and he doesn't handle it, it's like, oh shit, let's put him back to where he's good at it. Second base. Not only will his fielding improve, he's clearly more comfortable at the plate since they moved him back to second base because there's less like mental wear on him. Look at how much better he's playing. I don't get why we haven't learned from the past.
It's almost like the fact that putting Stanton in the outfield gave him that comfortable ability to show up and play again.
You're fully engaged in the game. You're fully engaged in what you're good at and what you enjoy doing. And like, yes, I know baseball's a numbers game and analytics are important. If you think they're not important, I'm sorry, you're wrong. But like, there is a mental factor, and putting players in the correct positions to succeed is arguably even more important than anything else, in my opinion.
I know it's easy for us to be the armchair managers like the next day, but in real time, I'm like, this guy's going to put the wrong guy in the wrong spot.
Yep.
And then
Joely Rodriguez.
And it's not that guy's fault. You put him where he shouldn't have been. You put Andrew Heaney where he shouldn't have been.
I never want to see Andrew Heaney on a mound again.
That's another thing. They set that man up to fail. Yep. They took a guy who was floundering on a fourth place team, and they put him on a team dying for a wild card spot like he's a savior.
Like, guys, we got a pitcher. We did it. We acquired a pitcher.
He was acquired within 24 hours of Gallo and Rizzo, and they put this guy in the Field of Dreams game. They put him against all these other teams. He was getting mollywopped by the Orioles.
Yeah, he's not good. I'm sorry. If you're an Andrew Heaney fan, I'm sorry. If you're his mom, I'm sorry.
I'm an Andrew. I do like him, but the thing is, that is a situation, and he was having a bad year to begin with. Put that man in AAA and let Matt Blake's philosophy work down there with him. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't throw him into a pennant race.
When they acquired him, they should have gave him some bullpens. Matt Blake goes, do this, this, and this, send him to AAA. Work out a couple of starts. This guy could have been the ace down the stretch. If we had Matt Blake years ago, the amount of rings we could have won with our pitching issues being fixed, oh my God.
Yeah, the man has been a revelation for the staff, not Andrew Heaney, everybody else. It's just, and we're complaining like this after one of the best weekends we've had in a very long time. And that is because I was talking about this with my friends last night. This is potentially the most bizarre Yankee season we've ever experienced in our lifetimes. I'm going to be 29 in like a month and a half. In my 29 years of watching baseball, this is the dumbest season I've ever seen. For as high as the highs are, the lows are so embarrassing. And if the lows were even like middle of the road 500 stretches, this team would be a 100-game winner right now. It's just mind-blowing. Like, John Sterling should do a Yankeeography of just this season, no matter how it ends, because it's so wild. I don't get it.
If the Yankees played the Orioles the way the Rays played the Orioles, the Yankees would be in first place right now.
Oh, yeah. Losing to those bad teams is so stupid and unacceptable. Like, absolutely unacceptable.
The amount of times they won the first two games and dropped the third game when they could have swept.
Yeah. Yeah. But listen, this is the biggest week of the season. It could be a 3-4-way tie for the wild card at this point. Who knows? But putting the Yankees or sweeping the Red Sox, rather, put the Yankees in the best position they could be in at this moment, given what else has happened. So let's celebrate that. Go Yankees. And we have a couple minutes left here. And before I let you go, I do this with all my guests that I have. The Yankees are blessed with cards in MLB The Show. Every legend, or most legends you could ever want, is in the game. Who are some Yankees legends or Yankees players that you're a fan of that are not in the game or have never been in the game, and you'd be like, oh, that would be killer if this legend was in the game?
All right, so my favorite player of all time is Don Mattingly. So when they put him in the game last year, I was through the roof.
Donnie Barrels.
Or 19. I think Cooperstown, Kurt and I bonded over the fact that his favorite team besides the Cubs was the Yankees, and my favorite team besides the Yankees was the Cubs. Because like when I was a kid, Rookie of the Year came out, and like I loved Ryan Sandberg and Mark Grace because like those were guys my dad liked to watch, so I watched them. And then his favorite non-Yankee was Don Mattingly, and those were his favorite players as a Cubs fan. So like we both went nuts when Don Mattingly came in. His cards have been terribly underwhelming, so I almost want to count him as a guy who hasn't been in the show yet.
Give me some
guy like 35 home runs, has 50 power against fucking lefties on a 95 overall card. A guy who hit 343 one year hasn't had a maxed out contact card yet, really.
We need the 8 grand slams in a season, or was it 8 home runs in a row? Don, what was his milestone that he had?
He hit 6 grand slams in one season, and then he never hit another one.
Yeah, so like, give me that milestone card.
6 grand slams. Give me that card. That's 125 clutch, 120 power.
Yeah.
Even 115 power. Let me swing with that, man. His swing is so smooth. If you put some power behind that, oh my God, man.
Yeah.
I was going lefty with his 98 card last year, like nobody's business. His swing is good.
I very much enjoy his swing. Yeah.
Give him a good card. Wade Boggs right now has 85 and 80 power on his card. And that man's career high in,
but it plays.
Oh, it plays. But I'm saying you can't give Mattingly more.
Oh, yeah. That's not fair.
Either give him the 8 consecutive games with home runs or give him a 6 grand slam card.
The milestone series opened up a lot of faults and flaws for pitchers, but for hitters, it's fine. And that's the way to juice your guys up. That's why we have 99 Matt Kemp. We gave him a milestone card. That's the way to do it.
I will say, I almost wish they had throwback moments cards.
Ooh, that's cool.
I almost wish they had that because my second favorite Yankee, which is now going to be Aaron Judge, but before that was Bubba Crosby.
Bubba. I remember the summer of Bubba.
Nobody remembers that man like I did. That he was our starting center fielder until we signed Johnny Damon. Brian Cashman said Bubba Crosby's the starting center fielder, and I was pissed. This man had a grand slam off us in Game 7 of the ALCS, off Kevin Brown, and I'm like, this mofo's coming here and taking my man's job. He hit that walk-off home run against the Orioles that September. That was the day of my life because I was like, yo, this guy's getting called up AAA majors, AAA majors, AAA majors. I think
he's here to stay.
We traded Scott Proctor, I think. Oh, no, we traded Ventura to the Dodgers for Proctor and Bubba. One of his first games makes like 3 diving catches, hits a home run, steals a base. I'm like, fucking love this guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, this. He's like, he was literally Gardner with less talent, I guess, because he didn't stay up as long. But he was that gritty dude. He was fast as hell. He made great defensive plays. And then he hit like only 4 home runs, but they were as clutch could be. He hit a home run against the White Sox when they were good. He hit a home run against the Red Sox in the big series. He hit that walk-off against the Orioles, which, funny enough, the cable in the back of our TV got disconnected right when he hit the home run, and all I heard was the audio. And by the time we went back on, he was rounding the bases, and I'm like, I'm that guy's biggest fan.
That's cool. Yeah.
And someone, when I played MVP baseball 2005, it was either 06, 07, or 08 in that community. Someone's like, hey, I know you're a big Bubba Crosby fan. I'm at a game right now. I got him the autograph of baseball. I'm going to send it to you.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so cool. That's so cool.
And I guess this is the best way to tie up everything. MVP baseball was the best game of all time, but then the next couple of years when they stopped making it, there was a community modding the rosters. They were making faces of players. They were making audio of players. So someone actually put me into the game. There was a way you can extract the box score and make your own content out of it. It was like ESPN styled. And people used to post their franchises and stuff like that. So when I came into the Twitch community on MLB The Show, I'm watching this guy play, and I'm like, I recognize this guy's name from somewhere. I said, I know he's streaming on Twitch, but I've never been on Twitch before. How do I know this guy? I scour a little bit. I'm like, from where? It's not any other baseball, or it's not any other Call of Duty. It's not like any other game I've been playing. But I was like, wait. I go to MVP mods, and I see this guy's name next to, he used to make Mets dynasties all the time. He did a revisit of the 1994 season. He made like fantasy drafts, franchise and stuff like that. It was Scuffy.
That's awesome.
Scuffy made MVP baseball
That's
2005 awesome. Content. I used to read his content and like interact with him 15 years ago. 10 years before I went on the Twitch. I'm like, wait, I know this guy. It was the nicest guy. Connection.
The nicest guy on planet Earth.
One of my favorites.
Awesome. And chat listeners, I just say chat instinctively. That's what you call a bookend. That is how you end an episode. That's called a callback. That's called a kicker. I'm trying to think of every word you could possibly think. That's how you bring things back from the front to the back. So, Mike, this has been awesome to have you on. I know we've been talking for weeks and weeks at one point, try to figure out how to get you on because, lives and being busy, but this has been so worth the wait. Very last thing, where can the people find you if they're not already following you, and how can they support your content?
Once again, thank you for having me here. This was fun. Content, Twitch, YouTube, TikTok is Mike Dro TV. Twitter is now Mike Dro with an underscore because TV got put in the rinse by Jack. He doesn't like copyrighted material from tweets in 2018, so I recommend cleaning out the hard drive on that. But otherwise, it's Mike Dro TV straight up, and I hope you like pizza.
Who doesn't? I mean, I don't know what to tell you if you don't. But guys, thank you so much for listening. This has been episode 57 of the show, the podcast. We'll be back next week with more rants and general debauchery, really. But catch a stream Wednesday, Thursday between 5:30 and 6 Eastern time. We're going to kick off Sunday, 9 a.m. end of September. Support me if you can. If not, I still love you. Just showing up is more than enough for me. So that's it, guys. I will talk to you all next week.